For the longest time in my life, I walked around believing that I didn't have any worth or didn't have any value because I grew up in foster care. I believed that because my parents weren't in my world, that this meant that I was unlovable, not worthy, less than. And because I grew up in foster care, that further added to how I felt, that I was less than. I was treated like a foster child and not looked at as a child living in foster care, which we understand are two different things, right? Children that live in foster care are not foster children. They're children that live in foster care. But what ends up happening is that without someone in their ear speaking truth into their spirit to let them know that their parents' choices are not an indicator of their own self-worth, and that though they live in foster care, they're not foster children, they're children. And they live in foster care, and their lived experiences are not the sum totality of who they are. I walked around for so many years not realizing these things, and I carried that vibration. And because I carried that vibration, it did for many years. It made me a predator for people that were users in my life, because they saw someone with an identity wound, with a mother wound and a father wound, and they're like, that's easy prey, because I know that this woman doesn't have support. I know that this woman is likely, lonely and seeking, and I know that I can probably use this woman and get her to believe that I love her. And that was the case. And in one experience, I had a man during the love bombing stage tell me that he could not wait for me to meet all of his family. And I remember how much it excited me. He said it during a time where he was trying to cover up lies. And so that was a manipulation tactic. And I remember him dangling that family carrot over me. It made me want to support him all the more, or be on good behavior all the more, so that I could finally one day meet his family and I could finally have a family unit. And what really has been transformative in my journey is healing the identity wound, and really realizing that my worth and my value has always been intact. It's always been in God. I am love because I come from love. So therefore, I've never been out of love. And my parents' decisions or indecisions are not an indicator of my worth. And I really had to learn this and own this and take it a next level. I had to learn the hard way that there's no greater love than self-love. Our mothers and fathers may not be there to give that to us. And if they even are present in our lives, sometimes they're not able to give that to us, or they didn't give that to us. And we've had to learn that self-love is the best love. For many years, I would go and try to reach love, try to find love in dry and barren places, and only ended up spiritually broken and used and misused and abused and all the things, until I said no more. I wanted to understand who I truly am, and I had to really look within and realize that the ways that I grew up had nothing to do with who I am as a person, or an indicator of how lovable I am. And when I figured that out and started to really love myself, my life is changing. And I still have a way to go. I'm still working on the identity wound, and I'm all here for it. No one has ever arrived. The finish line is always moving on our journeys, and I think that that is so beautiful. And now being empowered to know that the self-love is the best love, it ensures that I am no longer prey for anyone. And now I go on and teach youth the same thing. And that's dope.